sponsored us. Gorgeous dinner at the old Garden City Hotel.
September 24th, 1989, and we're at the Brown Derby restaurant. They're celebrating 51 years of being a business in our village, and it's a very, very happy occasion for the Murphys today, who are the owners presently. They have with them Mr. Frank Britton Wenzel, who has been the mayor of the village, as well as one of the prior owners of the Brown Derby. Why don't we go over and say hello to Councilman Cairo and all the other invited people today. Hi, Councilman. How are you?
How are you, Mayor? Fine, thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us.
And what do we have here?
Today we have a proclamation which we're going to present. We in the town of Hempstead have honored many of our businesses which have been so successful and served so well the residents of the town of Hempstead, in particular today the village of Malverne. And so it's my honor today, together with our town councilman Joe Carney, to present this proclamation to you, to the Brown Derby restaurant, and to proclaim today as Brown Derby Restaurant Day throughout the entire town of Hempstead, and to recognize the 51 years of outstanding service that you've given to the village of Malverne and to the town. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Councilman?
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Ma'am, congratulations. I just want to echo Councilman Cairo's remarks. It's a pleasure to be here. I know the food is good. As you look at Councilman Cairo and myself, we're a living tribute to the fine product that you have here, and I congratulate you and wish you lots of success.
Thank you very
Continued
much.
success in the future.
Appreciate that. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank
Mr.
you.
Murphy, how are you? I know the food here is excellent. I eat here every Friday night, and I got to say you look very dapper in your green suit there.
My green suit, right?
I like it. Very good color on you. Very nice, very nice. Congratulations on 51 years of the Brown Derby being established in our village, and congratulations to you. You've made this turn around, and it's a tribute to you and your wife, all the hard work that you have put into this restaurant.
Thank you very much, Kathy.
And Virginia.
Thank you.
How you doing in there?
Well.
Very
We're
good.
trying to make it a fine place for Malverne, and that's our privilege. So the work is well worth the effort.
Well, why don't we go inside now and speak to some of the invited guests who are here to wish you well.
That's good. Thank you.
Good. Oh, with us here now is Deputy Mayor Joe Canzoneri and his lovely wife, Judy. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you. We're delighted to be invited.
Come on inside. The cocktail hour is really great. The food and all the finger food really looks like it's delicious. The people are enjoying themselves.
Oh, I'm sure of that. And the Brown Derby has always been a very integral and vibrant part of the Malverne community. And I really have to hand it to Virginia and Ray Murphy. They've done fantastic things. The community has now a great restaurant with Italian food, and they've created a lot of interest in the Brown Derby and continued a fine reputation that's been part of the Malverne community for over 50 years. And we're very happy to be here today.
That's good. At least we need someone who can cook in the village of Malverne. The Irish are not noted for it.
No comment.
Come on in.
Oh, you got it.
With me here is the guest of honor, Frank Britton Wenzel, who was one time the mayor of the village of Malverne, as well as the owner of the Brown Derby. Frank is 97 years old, and he's been an active, vibrant person in our village for many, many years, and it's my privilege and honor to be here today to honor Frank. Frank, congratulations.
Thank you very much. But I want to make a little correction here. I'm 97 years old, but I really should be 99, but I lived 2 years in Hoboken.
You did?
Yeah.
Well, you must have wrecked that place and came to Malverne, huh?
That's right. Yeah, but I want to say, no, being serious, I am very thrilled to be, and so happy to be with all my friends here today. This is a great pleasure. No jokes allowed, huh?
You can have a joke, sure. Go ahead.
I have an appointment after I leave here. I'm going to be the keynote speaker at the Deaf and Dumb Club in Hoboken. That's where I have to go from here. That's a lousy joke.
Frank, did you see all your friends and all the people over the years that you've met in the village and in the business here have come to honor you?
I'm so happy and thrilled and proud. But I want to tell you, Mayor, you've been very helpful to me. You guide me all over the place, and I appreciate it very much. And by the way, you are a very good interrogator. Very good. And don't stop smiling now.
Okay, Frank, we're going to go around and interview some of your guests and see if they have any nice things to say about you.
Okay, the only thing is I'm so happy the spotlight is on me. Now I want to take a nice big bow. So long.
Congratulations, Frank.
Thank you very much.
Nice. That was nice. That was nice.
Boy, that's bright, isn't it? Very bright.
With me now is Ronnie Gaddis. She's the wife of Bill Gaddis, who was the village clerk in our village for many, many years. Ronnie was an active person in our village. As you go through the history, you can see that she's added a lot to the formation of the village, and I just wanted the individuals in the village to meet her and know what a contribution she has done for our village. Ronnie, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks, honey, and you're doing a terrific job,
Thank
too.
you. You look
Believe me,
beautiful.
You do, too.
Very, very nice.
Yes.
How many years have you lived in the village?
I've lived here about 32 years.
32 years.
Yeah, and it's been a wonderful time, and I've been on all the committees for all of the clubs all the time, and I enjoyed every minute of them, all the wonderful people in Malverne.
You look very, very lovely, and I bet
Thank you.
Frank is thrilled that you came. I know you've been a very good friend to Frank.
He has, and he's doing a great job. He really is. He loves every single minute.
That's good. Thanks
It
for
is.
coming tonight.
Thank you, dear, and thank you. And you've been a wonderful, wonderful mayor of our village.
Oh, thank you. I'm trying.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, dear.
Good. Thanks, Ronnie. That was nice. We have some old Malvernites here who have been friends of Frank Wenzel for many years. Mr. and Mrs. Devine, how are you?
Fine, thanks, Kathy. How are you?
Very good. Thanks for coming today. Frank really loves these parties.
I wouldn't have missed it for the world.
How long have you been living in Malverne?
We lived here for 33 years in Malverne.
33. Are you on Oak Street with
Right
Frank?
on the corner of Oak, right across the street from Frank.
So you've been through all of his ups and downs in his career
Sure
and
has.
his businesses?
And he's my golf instructor. He helps me with my swing.
He does, huh?
Even though he's 97 years old, he still gives me lessons.
I'll tell you, I've never met such a man so sharp in life. If all of us had 97 years like Frank
He
has.
is tremendous. He is tremendous. A great guy.
Great guy.
How's the roads on Oak Street?
Wonderful. Did a great job.
Finally
Great
smooth,
job.
huh?
Great job, Kathy.
So how are you doing? You look lovely today.
Fine, thank you. You do too.
Thank you. Thanks for coming
Lady in
by.
red.
Well, sometimes I wear, this is whenever I visit the fire department, I always wear red.
You've been doing a great job.
Great job in
Trying,
Malverne.
trying.
Things are really,
Really are.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Go back here right to the hill.
Oh, thanks, Mr. Devine. He's floating around here. Okay. All right. At this table, we have Barbara Kukowski and Mary Jane Witt with her husband, Warren. They always make it a special effort to go by Frank Wenzel's house around the holidays to sing all the holiday tunes as well as his old-time favorites. And I hope that they'll do a little number for us, Alexander's Ragtime Band, later in honor of Frank.
Hey, whatever Frank requests, we do.
You girls really have been blessed. Your voices are absolutely beautiful.
Thank you very much, Kathy. Thank you.
Very beautiful.
We enjoy being here, and we love Frank very much. He's really a very special man. I don't think there are words that can convey, our feelings for him, and what an inspiration he's been to us,
Thank you again for caring and taking the time out around the holidays.
It's our pleasure.
And we'd love to hear from you in a little bit.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you do for Frank and how much you love Frank and how much Frank loves you.
I'm hoping there's someone when I get to be 97 who'll do it for me. Sometimes it comes around.
I know, it does.
Thank you. With me here is Virginia's mother. Why don't we see how she's enjoying the event?
Oh, I'm enjoying it very much. I'm very happy to see Frank here. I only wish I could be as spry as he is at his age, which I think is great.
Well, I'll tell you.
Being a senior citizen.
Well, you know it's nice to see such a family operation. I know that
Yes.
Robin and Susan are always in here helping the
Yes,
mother and
they
father,
are.
and it's
They
really
are.
a credit
It really
to the
is.
family.
Yes, it is, Kathy. Yes, I'm very happy for them.
Well,
I really am.
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you,
Enjoy the
Kathy.
day.
I will. Thank you.
Well, that's good. Put me on the defensive right away. Humana.
Now,
Should've been here last night, I
I'll
tell
ask you,
ya.
is there a favorite drink of the Malvernites?
Oh, boy.
All right? Right now we see bartender Joe in action. I understand from Frank Wenzel that years ago his bartender's name was Joe also. Why don't we find out from Joe if there's any particular drink that's a favorite of the Malvernites? Hi, Joe.
Hi.
How you doing?
Very good, thank you.
Now, what's the favorite drink of the Malvernites?
Oh, we've got a couple of specialties we run here at the Derby. You got your Bay-Woo, you got your Woo-Woo, you got your Navels, you got your Fuzzy Navels. All specialties of the house, Cap.
They are?
Absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you, make a real good drink.
Well, we try our best here, Cap. You know how it is.
And you know the Irish are a good judge of that.
Well, I'm Italian personally, but my boss is Irish, and we have a good time. We have a good time.
Well, thanks, Joe.
Thanks
We're
for coming
gonna go
today.
see
I
if
hope you have a good time.
I always have a good time.
Okay.
I'm going to go in and talk to a few other people and see if we can get the ceremony started.
See you later.
Susan Murphy is with me now. She's the daughter of Ray and Virginia Murphy, and she's always in here helping out, and your parents must be very proud of all that you do to help them make this business so successful.
Thank you. I'm very proud of them. They worked real hard on this.
Susan, what do you do for a living?
I'm in public relations. I work for an agency in Manhattan.
You do? Were you part of making this thing happen today?
Today, yes. Yeah.
You've done a very fine job.
Thank you.
Very
Thank
fine
you.
job.
It's very
Congratulations,
nice to have Frank
Susan.
here. Thank you.
Okay? You're right?
Honored guests, it gives me great pleasure in joining the Murphy family and honoring an outstanding Malvernite, Frank Britton Wenzel. Frank Britton Wenzel started the Brown Derby restaurant in November of 1938 after a very successful career in show business. Frank has remained interested in community affairs until this day. He has known every mayor in this incorporated village, from William Christopher and to our present mayor, Kathy Hunt. He has known every president in this country, from George... I'm sorry, Frank. How old are you?
How old can you get here?
But seriously, he has been an inspiration to our village, and he exemplifies the quality of life that Malverne has enjoyed since its incorporation in 1921. I'd like to introduce, first of all, our first guest, our current mayor, the Honorable Kathy Hunt.
It's my pleasure to be here today to honor Frank. I've befriended Frank about 3 years ago, and I can tell you he holds a very special place in my heart. He's a wonderful gentleman. He has given me words of wisdom. He's gone around, and as they say, history repeats himself. And Frank has a lot of history after 97 years of being on this earth. It gives me great pleasure to be here today to honor Frank and the Murphy family on the establishment of the Brown Derby and to keep a tradition in our village over 51 years of business in the village of Malverne. I'd like with me at this time to bring forward the village family in helping me present a proclamation to Frank for all the years that he has served this community in the capacity of mayor as well as just a great person to live in this village. I'd like Trustee Joseph Canzanieri to come forward. Trustee John Norris. Village Clerk Alice Statz.
Face from the video. Keep it down.
And with me also is our village historian, John Garino, who is serving as MC. I have a beautiful proclamation that I'd like to present to Frank. This says, Frank, Office of the Mayor, Village of Malverne, Certificate of Achievement. Frank Britton Wenzel, founder, Brown Derby Restaurant. Whereas Frank Britton Wenzel, insight and imagination, pioneered the traditions of serving fine food and drink, as well as entertainment, which has stayed with the Brown Derby Restaurant for the past 51 years. Whereas Frank Britton Wenzel has devoted his life for the betterment of the incorporated village of Malverne, serving also as trustee and mayor. Whereas Frank Britton Wenzel continues to remain active in the life of the village, therefore, I, Catherine Hunt, Mayor of the Village of Malverne and the Board of Trustees of the Incorporated Village of Malverne, wish Frank Britton Wenzel continued good health and happiness in our village.
God bless you. I want to thank you very much, but I didn't know I was that good. I would ask for more money. I love that.
Congratulations.
Okay. Ready? Okay. Well, I'd also like the Murphy family, Ray and Virginia, daughter Susan, and son Robert to come forward, please, because we have, the mayor will make a presentation to the Murphy family. Go ahead, because I got the microphone. Go in front of me.
In front of you?
Yeah.
It's my mother.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Joining us now is the very good-looking Murphy family. And here I have a certificate of achievement from the Office of the Mayor presented to Raymond and Virginia Murphy, the proprietors of the Brown Derby Restaurant. Whereas, in recognition of 51 years the Brown Derby has been in business within the incorporated village of Malverne, whereas for offering entertainment, fine foods and drink, and a hometown atmosphere to the residents of Malverne, whereas they share good times and conversations, a place where everyone knows your name and is glad you came. Whereas the Brown Derby Restaurant has been a landmark and an institution for anyone visiting Malverne, therefore I, Catherine Hunt, Mayor and the Board of Trustees of the Incorporated Village of Malverne, wish the Brown Derby Restaurant and its proprietors continued success, many more years in our village, and thank you for caring.
Thank you.
Can I say something very confidential? And don't tell anybody about this. Ray Murphy offered me a job as bartender. And then I asked him, how much you going to pay me? He says, I'll pay you whatever you want. I said, I'm not going to work that cheap.
Mr. Murphy, how about a few words from you? Why don't you come forward?
You got the wrong guy, Kathy.
He always has a way with words.
Got the wrong guy. We're just honored to be able to do this with Frank today. We appreciate everybody coming, and we want to thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy.
I like Mr. Murphy because he likes...
You're hurting my hand.
He likes it. He enjoys the word brevity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to give those proclamations. Okay. Excuse me a second.
We have other proclamations.
County Executive Tom Galata could not be here today.
Huh?
But he asked me to represent him, knowing this is the 51st anniversary of the Brown Derby coming up. And he is presenting a proclamation to Frank Wenzel and to the Brown Derby and the Murphy family. And I think that to go and read it, I think takes a lot of time, but I will say is that basically what it says is that this today throughout the county of Nassau is Frank Wenzel Day and Brown Derby Day with the Murphy family. So congratulations.
Thank you.
I would just like to point out a few people in the audience that have given so much time to this village. People like, of course, the trustees, Joe Canzaneri, John Norris, Alice Statz, village clerk, who I drive crazy every day when I come in, Rich Wadika, who is president of the Malverne Civic Association, Joe Filippi, who is president of the Historical Society, and there's many, many others that have really helped me with my articles and being a village historian, and I want to thank them all. And one last thanks to Pat Harwell, who gets a call from me every Monday morning when I have to meet a deadline for my articles. But now I'd like to introduce a fellow historian of Lakeview, who's been a good friend of mine, Bruce Haldeman, who will read Frank's remarks.
Thank you, John. For personal reasons, Frank has been unable to frequent the Brown Derby recently. Frank has asked me to read his observation and remarks today. Today, as Frank walked in the front entrance of the Brown Derby, an old friend greeted him and asked, "Frank, is it true you are about to get married at 97? Frank abruptly answered, "Hell no, I can hardly walk." And as Frank entered the main dining room, he remarked, "I am delighted to see such a friendly gathering of Brown Derby patrons. And I am profoundly impressed at the recent enlargement of the dining room and the skillful cosmetic treatment of the interior as well as the exterior of the building." Here, Frank is compelled to use a metaphor. The Brown Derby 50 years ago could have been labeled Britton's Bar and Grill, as compared to today's Murphy's Stork Club. Which reminds Frank of another story. In those days, he had an experience of an old-time waiter. Joe the waiter approached two customers, Hamilton Gaddis and Bob Bennett. Hamilton Gaddis ordered a ham sandwich and a glass of iced tea, and Bob Bennett said, "I'll have the same, and be sure my glass is clean." So Joe the waiter took the order and then came back 5 minutes later with the order and said, "Okay, gentlemen, which one of you ordered the clean glass?" And so in closing, Frank would like to take this opportunity in thanking everyone for your kind indulgence, and now excuse him because he has to put on his bar apron and 10 bar for Ray and Virginia and their charming daughter Susan and their son Bob, proprietors of this fine restaurant. These are Frank's additional remarks. Mr. Chairman, John Guarino, Mayor Kathy Hunt, distinguished guests, friends, and patrons of the Brown Derby. Ladies and gentlemen, to all my friends who are here today to celebrate this 51st anniversary of the founding of the Brown Derby, held in my honor, I humbly extend my profoundest thanks and appreciation. A special thanks to our village historian, John Guarino, for this carefully planned party, which no doubt will bring back many pleasant memories to me and all of us gathered here today in the future. With God's blessings and best wishes to everyone and to the Murphy family for continued success, long live the Brown Derby. Case closed. With love and affection and humility, yours truly, Frank Britton Wenzel.
You know, no program would be complete without having a word said by his best friend, Bob Bennett. Is Bob in the audience?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is some surprise. This is some surprise.
Okay.
Well, you gotta get closer so you can see me for God's sake. Frank and I go back to those 50 years, and we had the pleasure of doing a lot of shows together, as a matter of fact. And I'm looking at the piano over here, Frank, and I see a candelabra on there, and I think that you and I did a number about 40 years ago with a fella holding the candelabra, Liberace number. And that was the time that I ended up with a violin being smashed over the head. Frank, I've got to tell you one story, and it's the story about the man who goes out on the golf course, and Frank was an avid golfer, and he's hitting the ball past where he can see it. So he said, "I don't know what's happening," and his friend said, "Why don't you get a caddy?" He said, "That's a great idea." So he sent to the caddy shack, and this 80-year-old man showed up. He said, "Who are you?" He says, "I'm the caddy." He says, "How's your eyesight?" I said, "Perfect, can see everything." So, all right, let's give it a try. So he hits the ball down the middle of the fairway, and when they get there, the old man is standing looking off in the woods. He says, "Where's my ball?" He says, "I don't know." "What do you mean you don't know?" He says, "I thought you had perfect eyesight." He says, "I do, I just can't remember where it went." God bless you.
want to go at the last night funk.
Oh, all right. Frank always reminded us of one poem, and the poem went, "At last I found the perfect girl, I could not want for more. She's deaf and dumb and oversexed and owns a liquor store."
She was sworn to the Navy, but rotten to the core. I just made that up.
I'd like to call on Mary Jane Witt to sing, and everybody join in Alexander's Ragtime Band.
Okay.
Mary Jane.
Yes, and Sister Barbara, of course.
Okay, we want everybody to sing along, okay? Because this is Frank's favorite tune. Am I correct, Frank? Frank and his partner many years ago. Come on along. Come on along. Alexander's Ragtime Band. Come on in here. Come on in here. It's the best band in the land. They can play a bugle call like you never heard before.
So natural that you want to go to war.
It's just the bestest band, whatever, honey lamb. Come on along, come on along. Let me take you by the hand. Up to the man, who's the leader of the band. And if you're glad to hear that Swanee River played in ragtime, come on along, Alexander's Ragtime Band.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming out today. We really thought that you'd have a good time with the Brown Derby and hope that you will frequent the place, because I know we do, because I'm supposed to stay at 160 pounds, and I've eaten here so much, I don't want to tell you what I weigh. But I just like one person that came in. In 1973, the Brown Derby had a small fire that almost did the place in. And ex-Chief Greg Terrell is there, and he's the one that saved this building, so he owes a big thanks. So thank you for coming, ladies and gentlemen.
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Can I just make a little remark here? I want to thank everybody for these wonderful plaques here. I'm going to have to enlarge my living room right now. Yeah.
That's mine. Get your own.
That's very good.
They don't think it's right about
You did great. We have a great, really good camera. And he's not
enjoy yourself.
What are you going to sing, girls, when he gets back there? Okay, come on. Okay. That'd be nice. Play This guy's professional here. No moving behind the bar.
No moving.
Just standing, right?
And watch the cash register.
Yeah, close that register.
What do you want?
A couple of clean glasses, then we got it.
That's good.
Oh, that's great.
Beautiful. That's good.
Heart of my heart, I love that melody. It's my favorite. Heart of my heart, brings back old memories. When we were kids on the corner of the square, we were rough and ready guys, but oh how we could harmonize. Heart of my heart, when friends were dearer than
more than too bad we had to part. Well, I know a tear would glisten if once more I could listen to that gang that sang Heart of My Heart. Heart of my
I want everybody to know I'm a union bartender.
Okay. Well, you better be, otherwise they'll lose their license.
Frank, look up, Frank.
Look up, Frank. Let's see.
I don't see it.
You're doing fine,
You're
Frank.
doing great. Okay. Okay, Frank.
It's for you.
It had to be you. It had to be you.
I'm getting seasick.
Finally found somebody who could make me feel blue, could make me be true, and even be glad just to be sad, thinking of you.
They go into the act tomorrow.
Some others I've seen, not everybody knows this, might never be me, might never be cross, or try to be boss, but they wouldn't do. 'Cause nobody else gave me a thrill. With all your faults, I love you still. It had to be you, wonderful you. It had to be you.
If I made my trumpet, I would take the second chorus.
But if you pick up the violin, I'm leaving.
Very good, sir.
The drinks are on the house. I'm Frank Britton Wenzel. You got it.
Thank you very everybody.
Frank, we were going to give you a plaque, and we wanted to reduce it to wallet size for safekeeping, because you haven't opened that wallet in years.
To tell you the truth, because a lot of moths came out of my way. Now this is stuff.
Yeah.
We love it down there. Oh, there's Malverne.
Oh, yeah? Hi. What's his front seat? Edgar J. Sullivan, ladies and gentlemen, owner and proprietor of the Point Restaurant, located on Hempstead
You have to say
Avenue.
owner of a major restaurant on Hempstead Avenue, West Hempstead. You can't.
Owner of the company. Give him a plug. You need it.
I need all that money get.
Good to see you.
18 miles from New York City lies the incorporated village of Malverne. Since its incorporation in 1921, It has grown from a whistle stop on the Long Island Railroad to the most progressive village on the South Shore. In size, Malverne is 1 mile square. Its main thoroughfares are dotted with a variety of establishments. Proudly it boasts of a movie theater and supermarkets, municipal parking lots, 2 banks, its own police force, trained police reserves, a well-run volunteer fire department, a department of public works, a post office, an elementary school, a junior high school, a senior high school, a modern library, an American Legion Hall, veterans of foreign wars. There are houses of worship of every denomination and parochial schools. Beautiful homes. In 1962, a new village hall was erected. Its residents gladly attended the dedication exercises. Represented were all the organizations of the village. Came and saw the most modern edifice in Nassau County and furnished in good taste. In the audience were those who served the village in former years. To speak for the village was Mayor Purcell. To speak for the residents was former Mayor Frank Britton Wenzel. To speak for the old-timers was Hamilton Gaddis, first full-term mayor of Malverne. Still living in Malverne, Mr. Gaddis will tell us about the village when he was in office, with the aid of some early movies.
Here you see the official family during my terms of office, 1933 to 1941. Village clerk Al Brown. Village attorney Robert Tinsley. Trustee Harry Leonard. Trustee Joseph P. Lewis. That's me in the mayor's seat. Trustee Edmund Juster. Trustee Frank Fanning. Deputy Clerk Mrs. Ann McNamara. Building Inspector Frank Luby. Health Officer Dr. Alexander Zabin. This was the Board of Appeals. Its chairman, Arthur McCrath. These 3 men were the Board of Assessors. John Beckel, Charlie Bullis, and Walter Luby. Their function, to assess real property. Meet the full police force of 6. This is Jim Ackley, the chief of police. The force was always on the job. now meet the Norwood Hook, Ladder and Hose Company, an all-volunteer fire department. To keep a village safe from fires, its volunteers are local merchants and citizens who are available at all times. Mailmen and barbers are a good example. Assistant Chief Mario Pellini. Fire Chief Philip Raswell. The officers of Post 44 Malverne. Commander Herbert Cullen. This was the membership. Commander William T. Harris. This was the Malverne Public Library when it was housed in a store on Hempstead Avenue. Mrs. Laura Christopher was the librarian. We were proud of our modern schools. Equally proud of our private schools. Official village newspaper. Its editor, Sally Lambert McCrath. This was the post office. Postmaster Clinton Drum. Here is young Bob Whalen. This was the home away from home. efficient commuter.
In 1962, the village of Malverne had another official family. My name is Francis T. Purcell. I am the mayor. This is our village clerk, William Gaddis, son of Hamilton Gaddis. Trustee Willard Caldwell. Trustee and Deputy Mayor Morton Stein. Trustee Robert Whalen. Trustee William Sheezer. Village Attorney David Cardenuto. After the public meetings, our work begins. As mayor of Malverne, I have found it expedient to let all the neighbors know what is going on in the village through a memo I write to them. If I may, I'd like to reminisce a while. When I first became a trustee in 1947, I remember well the evening that it happened. The old village hall was crowded when I was sworn in. In the audience was Bob Whalen and Vince Ryer. I was quite nervous sitting next to Mayor Wenzel. Suddenly it dawned on me that if I become mayor, the amount of work, the responsibilities, look at all the places a mayor has to be at. I get nervous all over again thinking about it. I better let Frank Britton Wenzel, who was mayor at the time, do the explaining.
When we had the dedication at Harris Field, named after the former mayor, I had been in office for a while, so it was a lot easier for me to be relaxed. I remember when Harris Field was a garbage dump, and today it houses the Little League and the Village Softball League. Right next door to Harris Field is the Department of Public Works, and the day a new front was completed, there was a dinner to celebrate. Naturally, the official family was there. Henry Weisenberger, Superintendent of Public Works, played host. 1954 was a big year. We began making room for more cars in the village, and the Public Works was right on the job. We planted our quota of trees. We do this annually, you know. When it comes closer to summer, the action begins. This year, it was Little League. We were one of the first villages in Nassau County to start Little League. Now we have a Pony League, Babe Ruth League, Major League, Minor League, farm teams, and everything pertaining to baseball, including a new field. Mayor, it was my duty to throw out the first ball. In November of that year, we broke ground for the library. They handed me the shovel because I dig that stuff. I'm great at groundbreaking. I'm also available for parties and weddings. Did I ever tell you the time we played Sheboygan? One night we heard the sirens going. The fire trucks were on the move, and all the civilian defense workers were on the job. This was the night when Bill Colwell staged a demonstration to show how our village was prepared in case of a bomb. Another night, we saw flares in the sky. There was a motorcade full of our midget football stars who won the World's Championship and were coming home after an appearance on the Ed Sullivan Show. Again, Malverne gained recognition, and the word spread across the nation. It was my duty as mayor to go out that night and speak to those young champs and thank them on behalf of the village. It was also my duty to speak at political clubs and introduce some of the guests, like Congressman Becker, Lyle Goodwin, Town Attorney John Morehouse, or entertain the members. We are very proud of our American Legion and its championship color guard. And the ladies, God bless them. Gosh, we were proud of the library when it was completed. For its dedication, we set aside a whole block so that the residents could have seats for this event. I was proud to hand Mrs. Christopher roses for her faithful service as librarian for so many years. Many past officials of the village were there. We put time capsules in the cornerstone with a little memento from each organization in the village. Functional library with modern decor. And always present are the dedicated people to carry on the work. In this case, the library board. In the basement of the library, there is always something going on. This was an art exhibit put on by the Malverne artists. Or you might find a garden club showing its floral arrangements for prizes. About this time, I left office, and my successor was Francis Purcell.
By now, having served my apprenticeship as trustee, I had made it. I became mayor, and my first official act was to speak at the dedication of the religious directory donated by the Kiwanis Club. And my luck, it rained. I threw out the first ball for the Little League. I spoke at the opening of the Malverne Jewish Center. Decoration Day found me busy. And of course, I had the honor to walk at the head of the parade. report to the residents of Malverne of what is going on in the village and where their tax money is being spent.
And as in many villages on Long Island, Malverne citizens continue their happy suburban life in a village that is forever progressing. Whether it be sewers for sanitation or the latest equipment for the safety of its residents, Malverne marches forward as a happy and contented village.